mobile phones. So
yes, please go on.
Sometimes I come to the group when they have already posted the signal. When it has passed like 3 hours, 4 hours, when I can't join it. So is it
Okay.
okay to go
Okay.
into the trade when they have already
Lutu
shared the
Moses is
signal, or
asking.
not okay?
Lutu Moses is asking, can't he choose himself a coin to trade instead of waiting for the signal in the group? I can ask a question, Lutu. Do you know, have you been a trader before? Before joining the Royal Queue? This is your first time. So if this is your first time and you are just new in the field of trading, it means you haven't, this is your first month, you haven't gotten enough knowledge to pick a trade, to pick a right trade for yourself for now. I would request you to be a little bit patient, and then you keep learning, attend the trainings that we always have. Always we have a training at 7:30, which is for teaching people how to choose a trade, what are the things that you have to look at. We call them indicators. What indicators can you look at to know that this trade is going to move up? So before you can do that perfectly well, I suggest you keep waiting for the signals on the group. Good enough, most times we have signals which come in very early in the morning. Even if you are not supposed to use a phone at your workplace, at least in the morning, by the time you report at work, you have put in at least a trade. And then we also have signals which come late in the evening. You can find those signals when you are back from work. Until when you are ready to pick your trade, the trades by yourself, and you have learned it. For now, I don't advise you to get the trades by yourself. So that's why we are the game changers, and we vowed to help each and everyone. At least there are teams whereby as soon as you join, no one is going to guide, no one is going to give the signals for you to trade, and then you just gamble around, and maybe you get into problems, you lose money, and so on. So for our team, we chose to be sharing the signals until our people learn.
Okay, thank you.
I think I have answered your question.
Okay, yeah, you have answered it.
Have I answered your 2 questions?
Yes, and another challenge that I have, I can't make sometimes I can't make it to join the Zoom. Sometimes I come from work late, and during morning time, I'm at work during the meeting or the training.
The good thing, all the Zooms that we always have, we record them and then we upload them on our YouTube channel. Have you ever subscribed to our YouTube channel?
There are 3 channels, Mr. Kind of Summer.
Yes, we have the Crypto Ambassadors, we have the Royal Q we have Game Changers, Royal Q, and then we have Royal Q Game Changers. So we have 3 YouTube channels. So every time you have time, you can log into the YouTube channels, and then their lessons, especially what we study, we upload them there to cater for those ones who cannot attend the live trainings.
Okay. You have answered my questions. Thank you, madam.
You're welcome. You are very welcome. Someone else to ask a question? Moses says he's contented with the answering. Let me see in the chat room. Patrick says, my question is why some signal in a group sometimes take more than 1 week before selling it. Why some signals take long to sell? Okay, now, when we go to the market, we are finding there are two people who are competing to excel or to take over. And the two people that we are finding in the market, that is the buyers and the sellers. The buyers and the sellers. When you have put in a trade, you have bought, you are a buyer. And then you are waiting for the time to sell, and then you also become a seller. So at some point you are a buyer, and at some point you are a seller. When you put in a trade, the signal has been shared. And when we buy and the robot has already bought, and then we find out that in the market now there's the buyers, the sellers are overtaking the buyers, then that trade will take a little bit of time before it sells, because now the market, when the sellers are so many and then people are selling and selling and selling, what happens? The market is going to be saturated. The way you see other businesses, if there are a lot of supplies being brought into the market, what happens next? The prices are going to go low. And remember, when you set the robot, you tell it, buy for me at this price and then sell at this price. So you have bought low and you want to sell high. So when this trade goes against you and then it goes even lower than the price you bought it, of course, the robot will keep on waiting and it will not sell until when this trade rises up above your average price, and then it hits the percentage take profit ratio that you set, and then it will sell. So that one, we don't have much that we can say about it, but you just need to wait for the market. You just need to wait for the market. Or if the trader has gone against you and you have more money, what you can do, you can add more money and then you open more margin calls. So the trading that we are doing is spot and margin trading, and we are doing quantitative trading, meaning the robot buys for us quantities at different margins or at different levels. So when the trade has gone against you and it has gone lower than the price you bought it, the robot, if you have more money, it has the opportunity to buy more at lower prices. And when it does that, it helps someone to stay in the market a little bit, not so long, and then it will sell out. So this one is governed by the capital that you are having. If the capital that you are having is a little bit small, it means the robot will buy a few times and that money will be finished. Then it will not be having any more money to use to buy more. So what you do is you keep waiting. You keep waiting until when the market bounces back. The good news is, as the market goes down, it will always come up. And when it goes up, it will always go down. That is that. When it goes down, people buy and buy and buy at low prices. Then when it goes up, they sell and sell and sell. After selling, the market is saturated, then the prices will go down again. So it is an up and downward movement. That's how the market is. I don't know whether I have answered you well, my dear, who asked. It is Patrick who asked. I don't know whether you have got my point. Saying Madame Rona says, Mr. Patrick, once you get into a coin with martingale strategy of double up, you can try to get out quickly. Okay, then Irene says, when you are in a floating profit and it happens that you sell it manually, can also the robot deduct the 20% or not? Yes, it deducts for as long as you have sold at a profit, because the robot, by the time it buys, that trade has already gone into the Royal Queue system. So when you sell and you have sold it at a profit, then the 20% automatically will be deducted. Unless if you have sold at a loss, nothing will be deducted. Then Pius Odoi says, good evening, madam. Thanks for the moderation. I'm finding out, can I decide to sell my coin, which is on floating loss, at a lower price, since I have limited capital, so that I can maybe I can wait for the prices to transact. Why would you sell? Why would you sell at a loss? Why would you sell at a loss? Let me tell you, when you have a trade which is in and it goes against you, it doesn't mean that it will stay there forever. The trade can go against you for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. And then on the third day, you feel like you have overweighted and you sell it at a loss. Let me tell you, after selling it at a loss, what is going to happen in the next few minutes or few hours? This coin will pump up and then it will even surpass your take profit. To me, I feel like it is not good, because when you sell a trade at a loss and you make a loss of $5, ask yourself, how long did it take me to make $5? How long, especially us who have small capital. I have a small capital of less than $100, less than $50. I have $30, and now I am selling. I want to sell at a loss of $1. How long did it take you to make $1? Because if you are having a capital of $30, even if you have put in it 2%, you are going to make a 0.3 every sale. So every sale, if you are to make 0.3, if you are to make a 0.3 and your trading capital is $30, to make 0.3, it means that trade has moved 3%, and it will take you 3 trades that will go for 3% to make a $1. Now, if it is in floating and it is having a floating loss of $1 and you sell it to make that loss, it means it will take you another 3 trades to make another $1. So I believe patience is something that we need in this business so much, so that we don't hate this business. Always be patient. What goes up will always come down, and what goes down will always come up. Okay, I don't know whether Irene, I have responded to you very well. No, that was Pius. Pius, I don't know whether I have responded. You will write again in the chat room for me to know whether I have responded to you very well. Irene says, can you please try to show me how to open more margin calls when you are in a floating loss? And then another one says, thanks for everything. We really appreciate. That is done with Aksam. Then Salme, why is it that we all buy the same coin being posted in the group, and maybe a few minutes the others are out of the market, and yet mine takes a week or even a month in floating loss? Let me start with you, Salme, then I will also respond to Irene's. First and foremost, we go to the market at the same time, we buy at the same price, but we go to the market with the different capital. We go to the market with a different capital. You, someone who is having $1,000 and you is having $100, someone who is having $1,000 will open more margin calls. It means the robot is going to buy for this person several times. Yet for you is having $100, it will buy only 3 times. The first buying amount, first margin call, second and third, and your 100 is finished. So if the trade is still going down, this person who is having more money, the robot will buy more in the dip at cheaper prices. And then this one brings the average price closer to the selling price. So someone who is having more money will get out of the trade faster than you who bought once or twice. So what governs, what helps someone to get out of the market fast or later it is the capital, and then the margin calls that you set, or even the margin call drop. Some people, they put their margin call drop at 0.2, yet for you, it is at 0.5. So another one has put the margin call drop at 1%, which means someone who has margin call drop, which is at 2%, this person, for him, the robot is going to buy more times quickly, faster than you who put at 1%. By the time your trade reaches 1% for you to buy the first margin call, the other person who put the margin call drops closer has already bought 3 times, which means his or her average price has even reduced before yours reduces. So if this person's margin calls have reduced, then it means he will leave the market earlier than you. I don't know whether Salma, you have understood what I'm saying. Then if it is not understood, you will ask again, and then I'll respond. Someone was saying, can you please show us how to open more margin calls? Allow me share the screen. Allow me share the screen, and we see. Can you see my screen, friends? If you are seeing my screen, someone should unmute yourself and then you tell.
Yes, we are seeing it.
Okay. Okay. I'm using, whose account is this one? This account is for someone. Let me log out from this, and I want to log into another account. Let me use this one. Patrick. Sorry, I have muted everyone. Someone wanted to see. Oh, never open a royal queue when you screen, and we are going. I want to, someone was asking, how do I add more margin calls? Let me go to the strategy. I see I have a trade which is running, and I am having a balance of 1. On this account, there is a balance of 146. Now, for example, if I look at this trade, if we look at, let me first make my screen. Now, when we look at this, it is in this trade, the margin call limit, it was 8 margin calls. Now, if I have maybe more money and I want to add in, maybe this trade has moved, it has bought all the 8 margin calls. Now, before we see 8 margin calls, if I want to know how many times has this trade bought, it has so far bought 6 times, which means from the 8 times that I said, 2 more are remaining. And where are they remaining? I'm seeing the next margin call is to be bought at 2.948, whereas the 60th call is to be sold at 3.100. Okay, so far we are at 3.035, but the moment this trade reaches 3.100, I'll sell the 60th call. Whereas if it drops to 2.948, what I'm talking about is this one. The next margin call is to be bought at that price, and then the 60th margin call is to be sold at that price. Now, if I want to add more margin calls, I just come to the trade settings. After reaching trade settings, what do I have to do? I click edit. That pen there, it is for editing. So when I click on it, then it means now my trade settings I can change. I can say I want to add more margin calls. I come here to 8 and maybe I want to add, and then I say I want to change, and then I want it 12 margin calls. After you have put that you have changed to 8, 12 margin calls, always come to margin configuration. When you come to margin configuration, you are going, this is where you explain the margin calls that you want. This is where you explain them from. This is the margin call drop. Margin call drop is here. That what percentage do you want the trade to go down in order for it to buy again? And how many times do you want it to buy? That is the multiple buy in ratio. Okay. Now, for example, I want the first margin call. If it drops by 0.5, buy for one time, 0.5, buy for one time, and so on and so forth. Now, I want also to tell the the other times that I have added. I have added the 9th call, and then say, I want it to be bought when it is at 1 point, when it has dropped 1.5, and then I also put the times I want it to buy. This is where I put the times. After you have finished doing that, what happens next is you confirm and then you save. You confirm and you save. When you save, you confirm and save, and then you confirm. After saving, it means now the robot, you have given it more instructions that when the 8 times are finished, please continue and buy more and more until the 12th time. And that is that, as simple as that. For this trade, it had only 8 times. So I need to leave it at 8 times. I don't need to disturb it. I confirm and save. Have you understood now what I meant, what you wanted to know about? That is Irene. If we are at par.
Yes, I've understood that. But one thing I wanted you to help me with again is I wanted you to help me and show me like how can I set a capital $650.
How can you trade with $360? $350. Okay. $350. That is your capital.
No,
I beg your pardon?
$6.
600. Oh my, your network, my dear.
I'm saying 650.
650.
Yes.
Okay, so she's asking how can she divide this? You can say that my first buy an amount, you can start with the $40. Then your first call, second, third, and fourth, give them also 40, 40. 40, such that by the end of the 4 times, you have $200 there, because this is 40, 80, 120, 160, that is $200. So you are having $200, which are regarded as one position. So what you do, the other the other 450. Divide it in other margin calls. And then you can say the 5th margin call, I'm giving it 100. That is the 5th. The 6th, I'm giving it another 100. The 7th, I'm giving it another 100. And then the 8th, I'm giving it another 100. Or even you can say, I am giving it 50, here 50, here 50, here 50, and then you give it 10 margin calls. But again, with that one, it is always important to look at the signal. When in the signal, they have given you that the margin call drop is, let us say, the margin call drop, they have said 4%. It means divide your money in 4 drop, margin call drop. For example, you can say, my first buying amount, we can leave that one, $40. And then you say, when it drops by 0.3, I am buying for one time, that is $40. It drops another 0.3%, I buy another $40, 0.3, and then you make all the 4 margin calls drop at 0.3, and then you buy for one time. So that the $200 are in 5 different buys. First buying amount, first call, second call, third, and fourth. Now, when you add 0.3% times 4, this one gives you 1.2%. Remember, they said 4%. So it means you are still having 2.8. Now divide the 2.8 in the last, in the other $400, so that your 600 is all used. So how can you divide the 400? The 5th call, you can say, we are dividing into, we are remaining with the 2.5, right? So the 5th call, let it be 0.5, another 0.5, another 0.5, another 0.5. This is, and another one, 0.5. This is 0.5 plus 0.5 times 5, that is 2.5. 2.5 plus the 1.2 that we had, it means we are having 3.7. 3.7, it is close to 4%, which was given in the signal. As simple as that. You just divide what you have by the percentage which is given in the signal. It is very, very simple, my dears. Is it understood now, Irene?
Yes, I've understood. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, let me read some questions here. Some questions. Salme, I answered you. Naiga says, how much capital should one invest in a coin to get 345? That is $160 as profit. Thanks for the training, Madam Harriet. $160 per month, per day, per week. When you did not specify the timing. You're earning $160 in which period? In which period? Then Salme says, okay, Madam Harriet, I've understood very well. Thanks a lot. Together we can. Good. Easy says, thanks, Madam Harriet. Is it advisable to increase the take profit ratio from 2% to more in case my trade is going up to get more profits? Yes, it is very okay. You can increase the take profit. That is if it is not yet nearing. Because if you had put 2% and now it is at 1.85 or it is at 1.9, which means it has already been put in the queue of what is to be sold in the next few seconds. So if you change from there, you might disturb the robot. So you have to change before, like when you had put 2%, and by the time it is at around 1.8, not at 1.9. Some people want to change when it is at 1.95. By the time you are fidgeting to change and then save, It has hit and it has sold, but it is advisable. You can change. Then number next, how many coins can I trade with a capital of 2,500? It can even be one trade. It can even be one trade. Some people think that having very many trades is when you can make a lot of money. No. You can even trade one coin with the 2,500, or even you can trade one coin with 5,000. What differs is your first buying amount increases and what you buy in the margin calls increases. You just do that. Because if the market is moving up, all coins are going to move up. If the market is going down, all coins will be going down. So if you're having very many coins, if it is time for going down, they will all go down, and then you'll be having 2,500 while in floating loss. So with the 2,500, have one trade. Give it good margin calls. It is not a matter of fighting the capital to see that it is finished in your Binance. No. Give a trade, have one trade, give it good margin calls. Even if it is floating, you'll be making money out of the margin calls. So I don't advise having very many trades. I don't advise. Now for you is having 2,000, you can have 2 trades. And then you are giving each and every trade 1,250. At least 2 coins. But to me, personally, I trade 1 coin. One. Until when I have 10,000 US dollars, then I'll be trading 2. I give one 5,000 and then I allocate it 5,000. Someone says I was meaning per day, Madam Harriet Irene. Meaning per day. There is no way how I can tell you that this capital can give you this amount of money in a day. It is very difficult to know how much you can make in a day because the market changes every now and then. But the right way to manage to know how you can make this is after a month, because after a month, you are going to add all the earnings that you made and then you put it in percentage and you get to know how much you have made in a day, you have made in a month. I cannot tell you that in a day you are going to make $300 and then you spend 2 weeks without making the dollar, and then in the 3rd week you make 50%. So that one, I don't have an answer for it because the market is dynamic and it changes every now and then. No one has guarantee. So those percentages that you are going to make this amount of money all through happens in those return on investment, whereby they give that you are going to make 2%. It is a guarantee you are going to make 2%. Here, it is not a guarantee when I say 2%. I can say 2% and then in a day you don't get it. And at the end of the day, we shall come here and then you say it was a lie. No, that's why we say you are going to make between 10 and 50% every month. Not every day, but every month. Because we know at the end of the month, you will have collected all what you have made, and then you make it, you convert it to percentage, and you get to know which percentage that you made. The topic of setting margin calls and margin call drop is the most confusing topic on my side. How will I do it? And I was late for the lesson. Sorry, you are a bit late for the margin calls, but margin calls means you want the robot to buy for you several times. And then you put that one when you are setting it, and then you give it that I want you to buy for me 8 times. And you also tell it that after entering the market the first time, when this trade drops by 0.5, it means if it goes down by 0.5, buy for me for $20. When it goes down again by 0.5%, buy for me for $20. If it goes again down by 1%, please buy for me for $50. So that's what we mean. Margin call drop is the percentage you want it to go down. And then that is that. Then the multiple buying amount multiple buying ratio, that is the amount of money you want the robot to buy for you. The reason as to why we are doing imaginary trading, it is because the market keeps on changing. So if you get all the money and you buy all at once, after a few minutes, then the trade goes down. Then it means you will stay in the market for a very long time because you don't have money to buy more at low prices when it has gone down. So we advise to trade using margin calls because even if it has gone down, you'll be able to buy and then you'll accumulate more at lower prices. I see Richams says, if I get 1,000, can I double it in 4 months? Why not? 4 months, it is possible. It is possible. Madam, how much do I need to subscribe Royal Q? To subscribe to Royal Q is just $120, around 460,000 Ugandan money. That is the money you need to hire the Royal Q robot. And then you can put an amount of money that you want on your exchanger to start trading. We connect the two applications together. I think this person who is asking is new, is not a registered member already. You will get to my inbox. Let me write here my WhatsApp number, then I'll answer your questions from there after this. This one was meant for only members. This one was meant for only members. Okay. Richam says, where is the 10 and 50% comes when I stay almost a month plus in floating loss? How much capital are you using, Richams? How much capital are you using and how are you setting your margin calls? You know, many times when we are just still new, we try to do all what we feel like. In other words, to be taken more kutegero kwafe. The person who introduces you to the business can be telling you that this is what we are supposed to do. And then when you try it one time and then you say, I think I can try this one. And then you try your own way and then it makes for you money. Then you feel like even tomorrow it is going to make for you money and even the other day. But if someone has set a trade and you have given it margin calls, relatively good margin calls and good margin call drop percentages, you cannot tell me that you can stay for a month when you are not making money. That is if you are having some relatively good capital. Sometimes we are challenged with the capital that we are having. Many times someone can be having $100, but this person with $100 wants to make $120 at the end of the month. If you are having a smaller capital, please be patient and then tell yourself, convince yourself to be patient. Just know that what you are having is still low. Is still low. You cannot buy margin calls that can go up to if the trade has gone low by 20%. Whereas someone who is having 1,000, if you set your trade very well and you went to the market at first with the 20% as we advise, and it's what you did, you cannot tell me that you can stay in the market for a whole month without making money. Yes, you can have a trade that can stay for a whole month, but when it is making money from the margin calls, unless if you set it wrongly, or even unless if you entered a trade and you were chasing a trade, you saw a coin moving up, pumping up, and then you entered it when it was very high. The next thing, it has to drop down. It has to wait for those orders to be filled in order for it to move up again. So if you have done the right things, the way we teach them, there is no way how you can tell me a whole month has gone. You are having $1,000. You have good margin calls and good margin call drops, and you are not making money. That one, Chams, I don't agree with you. You see, And now is here saying, for now, I use $300. $300, of course, when it comes to margin calls for you, will buy up to around 10%. If the trade has dropped by 10%, your 300 will be finished. Whereas someone who is having 1,000 can even buy up to when the trade, in case the trade drops down by 40%, this person can still buy. So we are so limited with our capital. So when we get to know that, if you put it in your head that for sure, Harriet, akasente kolina katono, ingeri akasente je kali akatono, bolaba nga trade against you, just accept, because that's what you can afford. Because even when you come to the group and then you ask, I've stayed in MDX for this years, I've now 2 weeks, I'm in a trade, it is not going out. And then people will say, put more money. Of course, on the group, they will tell you, put more money. And then you will feel offended somewhere, somehow. They're saying, put more money. When you don't have it, and they are telling you to put more, they are telling you to put more money. So instead of getting disappointed and then being offended, convince yourself that what you're having is still small. So just be patient, wait for the market to bounce back. It will find you, you will sell, and you'll make the money, and you go on. Okay. Any other question? Any other question?
Excuse me, Madam Harriet.
Yes, Jacob.
My question is, has this robot made any upgrade in the previous few days? Because there is where I was inboxing and told me that there is something which is supposed to be maybe blue, but mine is in orange.
Please go to mine. Go to mine, and then you click system setting. Then you go and see firmware. Is it firmware something? And check if you are having v4.8.2, then it means you are having the latest version. If it is not that, then it means your version is old. You need to update. Last week, last week, we had an upgrade to the new version. If you didn't do that, please go and do it.
Mine is having v4.8.2.
Then maybe it is your network.
So that is the latest version?
Yes, the latest version is V. It is V. Let me check, let me confirm. It is v4.8.2. That is the latest version.
So that is what is here on the system setting, like you told me.
Then it means it is your network. Many times, if you are using a public Wi-Fi, you will get challenges when opening your RoyalQ and Binance, when you are on a public Wi-Fi.
Excuse me, Madam Harriet.
Yes, please.
On that thing of upgrading, myself, when I was checking for my downline, she was not having that update which they put, but the system was showing that she's in the new version. They never changed the version, but they added something. So let him go to his Play Store. When he reaches on the app from Play Store, he will immediately find the word update. Yeah? Then when he it, the other thing of the grid bot will also come in, because it's what they added in. They never changed the whole version. They just updated that grid bot.
Also, Jacob, you got your Play Store and check whether there is, when you put in RoyalQ, whether it will bring update.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Another question. Thank you so much, Leader Rona, for that clarification. Yes,
Hello,
Franka Mwanguzi, I see your hand is still up.
Hello,
yes,
Mrs.
Madam Harriet, I have a question.
Okay, let us start with the Lunja Vincent, then Franka, you will ask.
Mrs. Harriet, I'm sorry today I'm late in the class, but I had some queries about floating loss. So I want to get some clue about it. If you are in a floating loss and you top up some money on it, how long does it take to finish up, to catch up with the loss, like to be back in the system, in the game?
Okay. First and foremost, I want us to understand what floating loss is. Floating loss is unactualized loss. Unactualized, that is, un with the UN, not AN. Unactualized loss. When you start a trade, you start it at a certain price. If this trade, if the market goes down, then it means it has gone low. So the moment it goes low, then the robot or your trade will be showing that you are in floating loss. And that you are in floating loss, that you are having an actualized loss. And the robot is trying to tell you that, boss, I cannot sell because if I sell, you will make this loss. That's why it is always floating loss. So it will have to wait for the market to bounce back, and then it goes above the price that you bought at, then it will sell. Or even when it moves from the floating loss, it will go to floating profit. It will be in floating loss profit, meaning that is unactualized profit. It will only be actual price when it is sold. Before it is sold is unactualized profit. And the other one, it can only become actual loss if you decide to sell at that loss. Now, if a trade is in floating loss and you add money and then you open more margin calls, it means you have given the robot instructions to buy more at lower prices. When it buys at lower prices, it means the average price is going to be brought closer to the current price. So I cannot tell how long will it take for it to get out and then sells completely, but it will depend on the speed of the market. You may put in more money and then you open more margin calls, and a day ends when it has bought only one margin call. It means the market has been so slow. It is not moving so down to buy more, and it is not even moving very fast up in order to sell. So that one, it is the market that can dictate that, but no one can dictate that. We have seen trades. You have a trade, it is in floating profit, and it stays there the whole day. It is green, but it is not reaching your take profit percentage. You wanted it to sell at 2%, and now the whole day it is at 1.2%. The whole day it can be like that. Unless if you say that, let me sell it at 1.2, let me get out with that profit. But the robot will not sell until it hits the set target, and that's when it will sell. So with that one, I cannot tell you that it will take this time. It will depend on how the market is moving.
Madam Harriet.
Yes, also Madam Rona wants to make an addition.
On that thing of money and come out. Most of the times you find someone is in a floating loss of like 30%, and the coin has already bought, like it has $200. So this person thinks that if I add like 200K, I'll move out of floating loss. This is something hard. If you're with me and you have somewhere to write, I would give you an example of, let's say you've gone in the market with the 1 million and you bought beans at 1,000. Let's say they were 1,000 kgs. They were selling to you at 1,000 shillings. So meaning if someone else comes and wants to sell beans at 1,000 and you have money also you want to buy, for you come and you say, me, I'm buying beans of 200K. That is 200K. For you who has bought less with your money, you've entered the market with less money, you have that chance of buying more beans when the beans go to, let's say, 500. But this person who got all the 1 million and bought beans at 1,000, thinking they will go to 1,200, will wait for the beans to go back to 1,200. You who has some money to add, you will double the amount of beans you're supposed to buy for you to neutralize the other 1,000 price. So meaning, if you are in a floating loss of too much money, let's say you're in a floating loss of $100, for you to move out of that floating loss, you're supposed to be having money which can double. Like you have like $200, which you're going to add on the other $100 for you to neutralize the price, not even by 50%. So it is so tricky for you to have like a floating loss of $200 and you want to add $50 and you think you're going to move out of the floating loss. Maybe if you have like 4 margin calls and you're buying the 5th call, then for you, you set that I'll be buying this 5th call as I sell it, as I buy it until I wait for the price. So the example I would give you for you not to always be in a floating loss, me, I've always adopted this strategy of sometimes martingale, or the double up method, or the Fibonacci method, where you know that if I buy $10 as my first buying, the next time I'm buying, let me buy $30, such that the price keeps coming close to what is there. So by the time you buy another like 4th margin call, you find the coin is selling and someone on the group is crying that I'm still on a floating loss when people are saying they have sold. So it is a matter of when you entered the market, how much did you put? And when you want to move out of floating loss, the money you're putting, is it doubling what you have in the coin? But you cannot just have 100K. You're adding it to 1 million for you to move out of floating loss. I think we need a lesson on this thing of how much you buy, how much you can use to reduce the floating loss, and how you can gain from it. And we learn every day. So I think it's too much for us to think that you can be in a floating loss of $200 and you add $50 and you're asking like, leader Harriet, that do you think I can move on? Thank you.
Thank you so much, leader Rona. And on addition to what she has said, as we always say, people, when you are going to the market, expose 20% of your capital first.
Harriet.
In other words, in fact, you put call. Then he puts the 50 on the 5th call, and then on the 8th call he puts the 40, and then on the 8th call he puts $20. That one you will never get out of the floating loss, and you will spend very many days, very many weeks in the floating loss, because all your 80% you put it in the first margin calls and the trade went against you. So it is important to start with the small. As the robot is buying more margin calls, let the capital to use to buy be growing, and the last margin call, let it be the one with much of your money, such that a small movement of 1.3%, it is making 0.3%, it is making for you money. And also, as Madam Rona has said, when you start with the small and the next the buying amount is bigger, then the gap between the average price and the current price will even be reduced even faster. You will get out of the floating loss very fast, and then you will get out of the market very fast. I remember Leader Habib has ever taught us about this. We shall request him, and then he comes back. He also explains to us that strategy of starting with the small, then let your buying amount be growing and growing and growing as you go down. I think we are done with that one. And Frank, I see your hand is still up. Please ask and we continue. Hey.
Oh, yes, yes, Madam Harriet.
Yes, please.
I wanted to ask, I bought iron. It's now about two weeks.
Yes.
And it went down with all my capital. I'm using $1,000 as my capital, but it had bought all the margin calls. Now my question is, if I'm to add one more $1,000, should I open more margin calls, or should I get another coin to trade?
Add more margin calls. In fact, when you are having a trade which is floating and you have gotten some more money, just add that very coin. Because the time it has spent down there, it means in the next few, it is going to go up. And when you add it more money, it means it will buy from down where it is. It means a slight movement upwards. It is making money in the floating loss. You'll be seeing the floating loss of 37% while you are making $10 out of it, $15, $20, money made from the sub sales that happen from the margin calls.
Then again, Harriet.
Yes, madam.
Like when you're buying margin calls and adding that, like such good money in that coin, you get the percentage you're in deep, then you make it that margin call it is going to buy. Meaning you're going to buy at the current price of the coin where it has just reached. So if you were like in a dip of 20%, you just put the next margin call, which is to buy like the fifth or fourth, where you've reached to that 20%. This coin will be bought at the cheapest price where you are. Then after buying it, that's when you add just the following ones. But most of the times, it jumps out of that dip faster. If you're lucky to add like good money, like he's saying he's adding $1,000.
Yes, of course, someone who is adding 1,000 and you are in the dip, that one is very good money to get you out of the floating loss, because the robot will buy at the price where it will find that trade. I'm seeing Irene. Irene is putting up her hand. That from Irene, then we shall listen. To Richard Chaligonza's question. Irene.
Yes, question again is I want to know, like, if you're in a floating, okay, like when you've set a coin, now, for example, you've given your coin like 8 margin calls, and because like what I know, like from this business of ours, like when like from the first up to the fourth call, it will be sold at one. Then the other will be sold independently. So now my question is, like, when it happens from the fifth to the eighth call, when the robot has finished buying and selling them, but it happened you're still in a floating loss, can the robot still continue buying for you in the fifth up to the eighth until you come out of that trade, or once it has finished buying and selling for you, that's the end of everything now?
Now, when it has bought the first call and then up to the fourth, those ones, they wait for the trade to come up and then it sells them all at once. For the fifth and below, those ones can be sold as many times as it is possible, for as long as the trade keeps on going down and coming up, going down and coming up. You might be even having 10 margin calls, and then the whole day it is going down and it buys 10th and 9th margin call, it comes up and it sells those ones only. Then it goes down again, it comes up, it sells them. So those ones, they can be bought and sold repeatedly as many times as the trade keeps on going, until when it comes up to go and sell the four margin calls and the first buy in amount. So the margin calls which are independent, those ones can be bought repeatedly, many times. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Richard, I see you have unmuted yourself. Please ask.
Yes, madam. Thank you for the presentation and teaching.
You're welcome.
Yeah, my question is, if I'm in a trade, is it okay to change the strategy mode? If it is so, how can I change it? Because I've tried to change the strategy mode and it kept on going to the previous one. And if I change it, can it stay there permanently to be like that? Or it keeps going back? Thank you.
Okay. So the reason as to why it keeps going back to the whole warehouse, either you wanted to change it when it had bought more than 4 margin calls, all the margin calls that you set in your trade, they are less than 4. So the strategy mode can be changed anytime for as long as it has not bought the 5th margin call. The moment it buys the 5th margin call and you have not yet changed it, it will never change. It will remain in the whole warehouse. And again, if the margin calls that you set, the margin calls that you set in your trade, they are 4 or they are 3 or they are 2, even if you click to put it in the in the, what is that? Sub bin real-time settlement, it will not go there because the margin calls will be less than 4. I don't know whether I'm clear. If the margin calls that you put in your settings are less than 5, it will not go there. Or even if your margin calls that you set, they are more than 5 and it has bought the 5th call before you change it, it will not change. It will remain in the whole warehouse. Hoping I have answered you, Sebo.
Perfectly well. Thank you, madam.
You're welcome. Another question? Okay. Do I have another question, or we call it a night? China.